When people ask me in the comments, like, what do you do for a living? I've answered it in a variety of ways. I've said that I'm a consultant. I said that I'm like a technology consultant. I said that I'm a consultant in the legal field. Those things are all true, but all exceedingly vague. So the title that I have my own company, and the title that I've given myself is founder. That doesn't help you very much. But the other title that I have and that I used to have, and the billing code that I use for my invoices is trial consultant. And so there's a show apparently on CBS that kind of talks about trial consultants. I'm not a jury consultant. I'm not like Gene Hackman in the one movie with like Runaway Jury, I think it is. I'm not like that. That's the one thing that I don't do. I don't think anyone does what Gene Hackman does in that movie, but I don't do jury consulting. But essentially, I'm a professional storyteller. And so I help attorneys tell their stories to juries, judges, and any other decision maker, whether it's an arbitration panel, another type of decision-making panel, government institution. I help attorneys tell that story primarily through technology. And so the way that I tend to explain it, like at cocktail parties, is I went to law school. I am a lawyer. I still have a valid license in the state of Illinois. So anyway, I went to law school, ended up getting really good at PowerPoint, and I kind of followed the money after that. And so I'm really good at PowerPoint. I'm really good at all other presentation tools. I got very good at video editing for work, and that is obviously translated into vlogs. And that is in turn further honed my craft, at least not that I use slow motion or put things to music in the things that I do for work, but the video editing that I do for work, I'm much faster, I'm much more efficient, and I know better what the limitations of the videos can be based on what I'm doing on YouTube. I even have a YouTube channel for my business. I won't link it here. If you guys happen to find it, that's great. I don't want you guys to go search. I'm not telling you guys to search for it, but I don't want to link it because I typically work in litigation. I don't want, let's say, if the other side finds out that I'm working on the case, there may be an instance where the other side might Google search me, and I don't want them to like then look at like, oh, here's what he did in his vlogs and things that he did when he was on other cases, and therefore he might be doing similar things. Not that I'm going into strategy or anything that I'm doing on these cases, but I'm just worried that my clients might be able to Google search me and then find this vlog and then worry that I'm saying more than I should be, even though I'm not. And so just to avoid all of that, I try to keep the two things very separate. And for what it's worth, the YouTube channel for my business, it's a very like poorly executed one. I initially thought that maybe it would be more of like a vlog in terms of the type of work that I do. But it's turned into more of like reviews and like how-to kind of videos, which I think that's kind of where it's going to fit, just because I'm really worried about divulging too much client-sensitive data. Because some of the places that I go to are pretty obscure, and you know about when I went, and so you can combine like there was a big trial in a really small town, you can kind of figure out which case it was. So it's not hard to find if you know what you're looking for. There's been some users that have figured out very easily what I do. That Cicero guy figured it out after like my third video, what I was doing and who I really not who I really am, but who I am in my day job. So I haven't been keeping it that much of a secret. My profiles are all open, but I try not to talk about it too much. The colloquial term for what I do is hot seater. Well, I think that's not really a great term. I prefer operator because I really like the Matrix, so I feel more like someone's like asking for instructions on how to fly a helicopter, and they got to punch it up real quick. Because the main part of what I do in consulting, not the main, but one of the main things that I do is I go to trial with attorneys, and I have all the exhibits digitized and inside my computer. And when they want to see exhibit 492, page 6038, I punch it up and I bring it up so that the jury, the judge, all the attorneys see the exhibit and the witness can see the exhibit. And then if we need to zoom in, highlight, doing a lot of those things are on the fly. So it's kind of like, sometimes it's PowerPoint, a lot of times it's PowerPoint, sometimes it's other trial presentation specific software that I use. But it's all very much like a really, really boring kind of like piano recital, but with a computer and with like documents. And so I get involved in a lot of all kinds of cases, everything except criminal, medical malpractice, personal injury, catastrophic, usually catastrophic personal injury, because a little fender bender is not going to have the budget to hire someone like me. Patent cases, complex commercial litigation. So that's the kind of things that I work on. And so when I go on work trips and I'm there for a long time, what we're doing is we're getting together either the video clips that we need to present, we're getting together the exhibits, and working with the witnesses and the attorneys and rehearsing our presentation, the presentation that we're going to put in front of the jury. That's what we're working on. So I don't mean to hide it from you guys, but I am trying to keep it at least a little bit vague, just so that way, if for whatever reason, either a paranoid client or an ultra nosy opposing attorney or opposing team is trying to dig up something, it makes it a little bit harder to find. So that's what I do for a living. Other than that though, we do create a lot of demonstratives. So I use Adobe Illustrator quite a bit, use Photoshop as well, although I'm not as good at Photoshop. By no means am I an expert, or would I call myself a professional illustrator, but I do make a lot of demonstratives and other graphics for court, like timelines, or explaining how like a certain kind of machine works that is used for making pharmaceutical medications. So like those kinds of machines, how do they work? How do you make like a schematic or other diagram that can explain it really quickly and simply to a jury whose education levels may vary from didn't finish high school to graduate degree. So you got to be able to explain things succinctly and in a clear way, very quickly to an audience that probably doesn't care. Well, at least not at first. Usually by the end of the trial, a jury cares very much. That's the beauty of the jury system. But usually not in the beginning. You have to earn their care, so to speak. In addition to that, and what I'm doing today is we also provide AV for courtrooms. Now, most federal courtrooms have AV already built into the courtroom, and it's usually pretty good, pretty reliable. Most state courts do not have anything involved that's available there. So like when you watch TV and the attorneys are like showing like a video or surveillance camera footage on a TV, usually those TVs have to be brought in by someone. Either the law firm owns it, or they hire a company that specializes in AV for courtrooms, like my company, to do that. And so what we're doing is we're going out to Rockford County Courthouse today, and we're going to set up AV. We're doing a smaller setup because those county courthouses aren't quite as, those like not county. The ones that are further out, smaller venues, don't usually have, they either have huge like old-fashioned courtrooms, like the kinds that like used to be in the town center, and those like kind with like really ornate woodwork. There's either those kinds of courtrooms, or they're really, really small, low ceilings, basically like just a big room. That's where we're going today. So I've got like a pop-up screen. It's like 100 and something inch, maybe 120 inches diagonal. A high-powered projector, monitors for the counsel tables. We'll have like a AV presentation switcher scaler, so that everything, if it's not natively 1080p, gets upscaled to 1080p or downscaled to 1080p, so that we can run HDMI and VGA, multiple input types, depending on what the attorneys need to use for this particular trial. We're actually supporting both plaintiffs and defendants in this case, which is not uncommon because they end up sharing costs. There's no sense in bringing two sets of projectors. So that's what we're doing. Yeah, and I've got to set it up. They're picking a jury right now. I'm supposed to be getting there hopefully around between 3 and 4 after jury selection's over. I'll set up the courtroom after they're done for the day. And then this one's just an equipment rental. This particular client is pretty tech savvy, so they don't need me usually in the room. I can just set them up with the equipment and they can run everything kind of themselves. Not a lot of my clients are that way. These clients are. We do use the iPad quite heavily for work, and that has really helped me capture more of the AV business. In the AV business, the invoices aren't that big, but it's much more frequent, and so it smooths out some of the revenue highs and lows. The revenue highs will be like when I'm going on a work trip, a lot of billing, a lot of revenue. When I'm not on a work trip and we're doing AV support on AV rentals, that kind of smooths out some of the peaks and valleys. So this particular client is one of my oldest clients. In fact, one of the first cases I ever worked on was out in Rockford with this client. And so that was almost 10 years ago. So they've been with me for a long time, and they're based out of Oak Park, so in a suburb of Chicago. They just happen to try cases all over Illinois. And so they always bring me whenever they need to try a case in one of these smaller venues. So that, long story short, long answer is, that's the long answer of what I do. Shorter answer is, I'm a trial consultant. So I don't know if I'll post that or not, but I filmed the answer. I don't know if this will go on the work channel. Maybe it'll go on the work channel to explain more of like what I do. Although if you're looking for that video, you probably already know what I do, but maybe it'll, I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this footage, but that's the story. That's the answer. And I apologize to anyone who may have thought I was being dismissive of their question in terms of asking me what I do, but I'm trying to keep it, because there's litigation involved. I mean, even when the litigation's done, there may be an appeal. The appeal might send the case back, so it might get litigated again. So even when I'm done with the project, I can't necessarily talk about it. So yeah, so I apologize, but that's the somewhat full answer of what I do. Oh man. Back in the car, gonna head back home. It's almost 7. That took a lot longer than it was supposed to. That took a lot longer than it needed to. We got the job done. And I'm gonna have to stop at some point because I gotta take care of something real quick before I hit the road. And I'm also hungry. All right, making a quick stop at the Belvedere Oasis. Like I said, I gotta take care of one thing for work real quick. It's very time sensitive. And I heard they have free Wi-Fi in here. Otherwise, I could just hotspot my phone, but there's also a McDonald's here. So I'm gonna eat that. And there's a Starbucks, so I'm gonna get some coffee. I don't like this Oasis though, because you have to like you have to walk. There's no drive-through, so you have to walk in to get to everything. And I think that's just annoying and takes unnecessarily long. And I'm gonna try and get this stuff done real quick so I get back on the road and get out of here as fast as I can, because I want to go home. I want to see my girls. Made it back safely to Chicago. Gotta stop by the office real quick, and then I can go home.
Yo, what's going on?